These 6 factors will spell disaster for the housing market in 2021. Let's check it out. I scratch my head thinking everything is great, but there's 6 things that have me very concerned.
Real estate is cyclical with downturns occurring every 10 years. If you think incredibly low inventory and high demand will prevent a foreclosure crisis, you have another thing coming. There are so many factors at play in triggering a tsunami of foreclosures. And if that occurs, what needs to happen? What do you need to know to avoid a personal foreclosure crisis? I've seen 3 major real estate downturns happen over the course of my real estate career, and there just might be a perfect storm brewing in 2021. And here's why. Number 1, most folks do not have money in the bank. According to CNBC, 63% of Americans say they have been living paycheck to paycheck since the pandemic began in early 2020. 53% of those were not living paycheck to paycheck prior to the pandemic. And even with stimulus payments, enhanced unemployment benefits, and small business loans, 47% of those surveyed said their emergency savings have run completely out. If faced with a $500 emergency, 8 out of 10 people would be unable to cover the cost. Number 2, mortgage forbearance programs are ending soon. Now, millions of homeowners have applied for forbearance. These programs are set to expire this year, and many may face foreclosure as ongoing lockdowns becomes a prescription for dealing with pandemic. This creates loss of jobs, business, and other financial issues. Number 3, termination of COVID-19 financial relief programs means less money for consumers. Now, a substantial part of the population is facing a significant drop in their take-home pay due to a number of COVID-19 programs terminating this year. Here are the 4 most important ones that are planning to come to an end soon. You have extended unemployment benefits, payroll tax deferral for federal employees, including military and government jobs, forbearance programs for student loans, and money to help gig workers, including real estate professionals. Number 4, the group nobody's talking about is real estate investors. Now, millions of Americans own home and rental properties, but there's eviction moratoriums going on at different levels in many different areas. Now, as that happens, you have many people who have mortgages on homes that have tenants in them that have been living for months without paying their bill. Now, under normal circumstances, they could easily sell the property. But how sellable is a property when you're paying a mortgage on a tenant who isn't paying the rent and can't be evicted? Number 5, you have home prices in certain areas already falling. The COVID pandemic has resulted in an exodus from many downtown metropolitan areas all over the country that are deemed high risk. Number 6, raise taxes and massive spending increases ahead. According to Statista, the U.S. ended 2019 with a national debt of $23.2 trillion. At the end of 2020, that debt had ballooned by nearly $5 trillion to $27.75 trillion. Now, the Biden administration is money man, is already planning a $1 trillion spending package. It's just going to create future taxes for all of us to tackle these creative policies to try and deal with the pandemic. So, having said all this, there's a cumulative effect. The ideal of this is twofold. You're going to have high national debt, which drives up the cost of everything through inflation. The same is also true of tax increases. You're going to have consumers having less buying power. Now, you couple that with continued lockdowns and continued financial strain, you're going to have individuals with just less money to spend. And these factors could hit both homeowners as well as struggling businesses really hard, pushing many into a situation where they can no longer make ends meet. So what needs to take place? So if you're a homeowner in a distressed situation, how can you respond? Well, here's what most likely will happen that we can see from previous downturns. Number 1, they'll try and sell their property with or without an agent. Number 2, they'll stay in the property as long as possible during foreclosure to pick up free rent. This approach ruins their credit. It basically creates massive cost against any potential equity they have in the home, which ends up costing them a lot more in the long run to stay in the home. Number 3, attempt to use a short sale. Short sales are when your property's mortgage exceeds the value. So what you owe is so much versus what the market would be interested in paying, you'd have to bring a check into the closing in order to sell it. In the absence of obviously being able to bring that check to closing, you get the mortgage lenders to agree to accept less on the note. And short sale is an opportunity in those situations. Number 4, you could simply call your lender and see if they will do what's called a deed in lieu of foreclosure. Essentially, you just give the keys back to the lender, they close the account, and then you move on. Now, this will have impacts on your credit. Number 5, declare bankruptcy to delay the foreclosure. So oftentimes when you are in trouble financially, an attorney is a good place to turn to find out options to restructure debt, delay lenders, do different things to protect your investment. But let's address the checklist. I would imagine that as you heard me give you those points, the first thing you don't want to hear is, hey, I get to sell my house or find a way to get out of it. So the number one thing you should do is, if you're not currently in a forbearance program, call your lender and see what options they have. If you're in a forbearance plan and it's about to expire and you're in financial trouble, call your lender about extensions. I believe Fannie Mae has already advised an extension of another 6 months after they already granted 6 months, bringing the total of deferred payment eligibility to a total of 360 days. So if you received a forbearance, you might have an extension process that's available to you. But the first thing that I would say is, make sure, if you haven't, make sure and contact your lender about entering a forbearance program due to COVID-19. Or number 2, if you have an interest rate above 4% or more, consider refinancing or asking your lender for a loan modification at a lower interest rate. Number 3, free up part of your equity by working with an equity sharing program. 4 programs worth considering are HomeTap.com, Noah.co, Point.com, and Unisom.com. Number 4, rent your present home out and move to a less expensive rental property until your financial situation improves. Number 5, if they owe more than the property's value, hire a loss mitigation firm to negotiate a short sale. Number 6, for additional ideas, review the list of HUD-sponsored programs to help distressed homeowners avoid foreclosure. I've attached a link to that in the description of this video. Number 7, consider talking to an attorney about restructuring your debt in your best interest. This may be an option for you. And if you're a small investor who's in trouble, there are 2 potential workarounds available for you. In the case where you own 1 to 4 units and you own or occupy 1 unit, you should check with your lender for forbearance, just like a normal homeowner. When it comes to financing 1 to 4 unit properties are normally treated the same as single family res. Second, depending on if rent control provisions are in place and what those laws allow, a buyer who intends to own or occupy a single family residence of a 1 unit into a 2 to 4 unit property may be able to legally evict the current tenant there once they close. So that may clear up the obstacle of you being able to sell the property if you're a small investor. So hope that helps you. I know that a lot of places the market's doing incredibly well, so it might be a determination where you just feel like you do need to sell and rent something for a while. If that is the case, please give us a call. We also can help you mitigate short sale situations, things of that nature. Please reach out to us. We want to be a resource to you. Thanks for watching. Hey, you can help our channel by giving this video a like, subscribe to us, and as always, please share this video with someone who's in need. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Buying or selling a home in Central Florida is expensive. The Jones Group leverages the latest technology and passes the savings on to you. List your home for just 1%. Buying a home, get $7,000 cash rebate before close. Make 1 call, that's all. Better service, lower fees.